All right, so you're ready to get started in day trading. Well, my name is Zach Hartley, and in this video, I'm gonna walk you through the different things that you're gonna need in order to get started. Let's go. Okay, so the 4 things that we're gonna cover in this video is number 1, your brokerage. What is the actual platform you're gonna use to day trade and how are you gonna do it? 2 is how much money do you need to start with? 3 is what strategy are you going to use? I'm going to show you mine real quickly and I'm going to give you some resources. And then number 4 is a couple of things that you may want to know and consider before you get started. A lot of this has to do with tax and you want to know it up front so that you're not jumping into any surprises. But let's get started with the brokerage. So right off the bat, if you live in Canada, I recommend Questrade as your brokerage. If you live in the USA, I recommend Thinkorswim as your brokerage. And if you don't like those options, then I recommend Interactive Brokers because that platform will work in both countries. Now, these are just my personal recommendations from what I have used and what I've seen other people use, but there's lots of different options out there. However, the things that you may want to consider and the things that you may want to look at when deciding on which broker to use are these different factors. So number 1 is a practice account. I've been trading for several years now and I still use a practice account to test out different strategies and get familiar with different order types on my platform. A practice account gives you fake money that you can use and experiment with so that you can get familiar with the platform you are using. It is a fantastic tool and I highly recommend you always having a practice account because it's a great way to test new strategies. Second thing is live data. Depending on where you live and what platform you're using, sometimes the price action that you are looking at might be delayed by 15 minutes. If you're a day trader, that matters a lot. But if you're a swing trader or a long-term investor, it might not matter at all. And so to get live data where it's actually up to date, you'll probably have to go to your platform and pay for a small service. On Questrade, it's about $20 per month. After that, you may want to look at margin and leverage. Margin and leverage is what's going to allow you to borrow money from your brokerage. So if you have $1,000 in your account and you're trading a specific security that allows you to use margin, you could actually trade that security with up to $3,000 or $4,000, meaning that you can increase your risk to reward ratio. And with $1,000 deposited, it's actually like you're trading with $3,000 or $4,000. And so it can increase the amount of money that you can make over time. And then lastly is level 2 data. So most of the time what you can see is the current price and maybe what the bid and the ask price is for that specific security. But level 2 data lets you see all of the orders stacked on top and below that price so that you can see if Warren Buffett is selling 1 million shares at $100 and the price just can't break above $100, you can start to understand that situation. And so different brokerages will have different fees, different structures, and different price levels for all of these different factors. So you may want to consider them, but based on these factors, these are the brokerages that I recommend: Questrade, Thinkorswim, and then Interactive Brokers. Now, factor number 2 for day trading is how much money do you need to get started with? Well, I always recommend people that have never traded before always start with a practice account so you can understand how to make a trade, what it's like, what it feels like, and what the process is like to go through everything. So always find a practice account to start with. After that, you need to start with at least $1,000. If you start with $100, you're going to be paying just way too much in commissions on every position that you take. If you have $1,000, it at least kind of gets you over that hump where the commissions don't quite matter as much. So I recommend starting with $1,000. And if you don't have $1,000, then you should focus on getting $1,000, because if you don't have $1,000 saved up or ready to go or ready to spend on this, then you're probably too tight on income or too tight on cash right now to be diving into day trading, because this is not a get rich quick scheme. This is not a short-term thing. This is a long-term thing. You're probably not going to be profitable for a couple months. It's going to take a little while and it's going to take a lot of research, it's going to take a lot of time, and it's going to take a lot of effort. So if $1,000 is too much for you right now, you may want to consider just focusing on your income, your cash flow, saving up a little bit of money, making sure that you have a cushion, and then getting into this. Now, lastly is that you should add more funds once you are profitable. I recommend starting with $1,000. Even if you have $5,000 or you have $10,000 or $20,000, start with $1,000. Start with $2,000. Make sure that you're profitable with that amount of money before you scale up and go on to something else, because if you're not profitable with $2,000, you probably won't be profitable with $6,000 or $10,000. So that is how I handle that question of how much money should you start with. Number 1, start with a practice account. Number 2 is start with $1,000, and number 3 is add more to that fund once you know that you're profitable over 1 or 2 months. All right, now factor number 3 to getting started in day trading is your strategy. This refers to how do you determine when to buy and when to sell a position? How do you enter? How do you exit? How do you manage your risk? How do you evaluate your position size? how do you manage all of those different aspects? And for me, I'm going to give you the most simplified version of my strategy that I can possibly do in 2 minutes, and then I'm going to give you some resources. So for me, I look to buy breakouts from consolidation. What that means is that I'm looking for the price to trade sideways for a period of time and then break out of previous resistance. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I like to trade, and that's the price pattern that I like to enter my positions on. I am also looking for increasing volume, meaning I'm looking for more and more people to be entering that position at the same time. I'm looking for the number of shares to be traded that day to be higher relatively compared to the last few days, and I'm also looking for a catalyst. Why is the stock moving higher? Why is the industry doing well? And what is behind this move? I want to be able to understand all of that. I want to be able to identify the price action, and then I also look at the indicators such as the MACD, the RSI, and the moving averages. Now, just to show you this strategy in real life, this is an example of where I said, okay, this is a position that I am going to enter. It was a company called Medecine. They're a psychedelic company here in Canada. I entered the position. I think I'm in at 65 cents, and I made several videos about this company. You can see a screenshot right here back from September 27th is when I was talking about this company, and you can see right at that time, September 25th, 24th right here, the price broke out. So this green and red dots right here, these are referred to as candlesticks, and they represent the price over time. You can see that here in July, the price hit a high of around 55 cents. It came back down to 40 cents, went back up to 55 cents, came back down to just over 40 cents, and then in a matter of 3 days, it blew through the previous resistance, and we also saw increasing volume right here. That's what these 3 bars right here represent, and then down here we have the MACD crossing over, that's a buy signal, and we have the RSI moving higher, also a buy signal. And so I entered this position here, and I actually got in at 65 cents. And just a few months later, the stock actually ran up to a high of $6.47. So I actually had an ROI of over 10x at one point. I do still own the position. I've trimmed it 2 or 3 times since then, so it isn't the full size anymore, but I am still doing extremely well on it. And this is just an example of watching for a breakout, seeing that breakout, identifying it, getting in at the right time, and then riding it to the high. Now, this is just one strategy, and if any of that sounded complicated to you or you want to learn more about it, then I do have a completely free course that is hosted on Skillshare. You can access it completely free for 2 weeks when you use the link in the description below. There's over 9 hours of content that will walk you through step by step everything you need to know about getting started in the stock market. I've had over 4,900 students go through the course. There's over 250 reviews, and over 80% of the students that have reviewed the course say it exceeded their expectations. I would love to share it with you, and the link is in the description to this video. But let's say you don't want to take my course. That is no problem at all. I'm doing a full series here on YouTube where I'm reviewing other day traders' courses. I've already done a review on Ricky Gutierrez's course as well as Zip Trader University's course, 2 very popular day traders here on YouTube. So if you want to see those reviews and get somebody else's opinion, definitely check that out here on my channel. I'll also be reviewing Umar Ashraf and Stock Market Labs coming up, as well as Ross Cameron and Warrior Trading. So that's what these guys run right here. If you're interested in seeing those reviews, make sure to subscribe to my channel. But the last thing that you need to know when getting started with day trading, and this one is really important if you live in the USA, is something called the PDT rule. That stands for Pattern Day Trader Rule, and it states that you can only make 3 trades in and out per 5-day period if you live in the United States and you have under a $25,000 account. Now, there's a couple different ways to get around this. You need to do some due diligence if you want to learn about them. But if you're trading in the USA, you want to be a day trader and you have less than 25 G's, you need to be very well aware of the PDT rule because it's super important. If you live in Canada, it doesn't exist, but there are some other rules you should know about. But the big thing here is that day trading, if you're going to be a day trader, that is considered a job. And if you're going to work a job, you have to pay income tax on that. And when I say income tax, I'm talking about regular income tax. And that's really important because if you're going to be a day trader, you shouldn't be doing this in a registered tax account, any account that gets tax benefits, and you need to be very careful that you account for all of your trades properly. So definitely keep that in mind. You also need to keep a trading journal. That is how you're going to document how you're doing over time. That's how you're going to figure out what you're good at, what you're bad at, where you can improve, and that's how you refine your strategy over time. And lastly, I always recommend people to start with a practice account. That is the best way to get started in day trading, because that way you can lose somebody else's money. Because honestly, the odds of you being profitable in week 1 and week 2 are very, very low. So it's much, much better to lose somebody else's fake money than it is to lose your real money right off the bat. Start using your real money when you're profitable, not when you're just getting started and when you're just learning out. It doesn't make any sense. Now, lastly, in summary, check out the links in the description to this video. I got a lot of links down there that will significantly help you out and save you some money, including $50 in free trading commissions when you sign up with an account for Questrade. You also need to understand that this is a career and not a get-rich-quick scheme. You are never going to be able to learn how to day trade and be a millionaire 2 months later. That is not going to happen. Get that idea out of your head, and if that's what you were coming into this with, then you're just in the wrong place, because this is a profession, this is a skill, this is a career that takes a long time to master, but it does give you so much more freedom than anything else you'll ever be able to do. And lastly, if you get any value out of this video, please remember to click that like and subscribe button. I sincerely appreciate it, and I wish you all the luck in the future. Good luck trading, good luck investing, and I hope to see you soon. Bye for now.